Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Baseball is back officially. So today we're going to start a short series, a test series for the new game. Here's a rebuild series. We're going to do the Texas Rangers, my favorite team. They've made some big moves in the offseason. They've signed Semien. They've signed Seager. I think there's more moves to come, probably. They haven't happened yet as I'm recording this because the new CBA has just been ratified. So I've gone through and found a roster, put some players that were free agents that maybe shouldn't be in rosters just so they don't regress on like one-year deals. So for the most part, it should be accurate. It may not be totally accurate, but this is what we're rolling with for the first series. So like and subscribe if you guys do enjoy. But we're going to do the Texas Rangers. We're going to turn GM contracts off so we don't get fired. I don't think that will be an issue. But the DH is now universal. The extra inning runner is off, so that is how we're going to do that. CPU trading is going to be on. CPU roster control is going to be off, so we don't have control over that. We're going to have budgets on, make it a little bit tougher on us. Not going to have forced trades, obviously. We're going to manage everything as we should, and we're going to start spring training. And the first thing we're going to do, we're going to show the lineup as it currently stands and some free agents. Buster Posey retired. Hopefully no one signs him. Otherwise, he's just going to play for a little bit. Correa and Story still on the free agent list. The first thing we're going to do, we're not going to sign Posey or McHugh or anybody like that, but we are going to take a flyer on Seiya Suzuki. And hopefully he can make an impact at the big league level. We're going to have to cut somebody, but that's one thing we're going to look at. And we're going to look to add another pitcher. Probably it's going to wind up being somebody like Zach Greinke. Hard to really tell. We might take a flyer on like a Chris Bryant. A flyer. He's an 82 in this roster, but you're going to have to clear a couple of spaces. So we're going to do that. And then we're going to sign a couple players, and then we'll go over the roster because it doesn't make sense to do the roster beforehand. So I'll see y'all in a second. All right, here's a look at some of the free agents we have signed. We signed Seiya Suzuki, and we moved him from a right fielder to a left fielder because I imagine that's what he would play in the majors. He profiles more that way with the weaker glove, but pretty decent hitter. He's one of the Japanese free agents that could be very exciting to watch develop. Already an 89 overall in this roster. I did not make this roster. I'll have to go figure out who did, so y'all can download it if you want. And then we signed Zach Greinke to, I believe, a 2-year deal. It is 2 years for $8 million. Just to have somebody at the front end of the rotation that hopefully isn't that awful. Not that John Gray is bad, but somebody that can eat some innings for us. It'd be a bridge till we get some of our younger guys like Kyle Cody or Jack Leiter or Reagans or Spencer Howard or any of the young guys. We don't need them to be around for a long time. We just need them to be around for a minute. Maybe mentor those younger guys. But those are the main changes that we have. Some of our other top players, Leclerc, hopefully he's good over this. Yohel Pozo might make the major league team after spring training. We'll have to see how it goes. We're going to add him to the 40-man roster, though, while I'm thinking about it. And then send him to the majors, see if he gets some at-bats in spring training. And Nate Lowe's the first baseman. Semien and Solak, obviously, are the second baseman. Solak will probably play some outfield this year. Kiner Falefa and Andy Ibanez at third, along with Apostle. Seager's a shortstop for a while. Suzuki, we covered, is in left with Willie Calhoun. We have a lot of depth at center and a lot of top-end depth. We just need one of these guys to develop, and I am not sure which one is going to happen first or the quickest. We do have Travers in the outfield already. We could potentially take a flyer on Bubba Watson being the everyday center fielder, see if that helps him develop, and that would give more reps for perhaps Martinez and Walker in the minors. I don't know. It'll be an interesting year one. We're going to do this in stages, so year one's going to be the first video. And yeah, so we're going to simulate to the regular season, and then we'll show off the batting order and pitching rotation. So the lineup we're going to be rolling with, DHs are always on because that is in the new CBA, as we talked about earlier, as that just got signed in real life. So it's going to be Kiner Falefa, Seager, I think Simeon, and then probably Suzuki, and we may change some of this around as the season progresses. We could switch Simeon and Suzuki, I guess. Solak is going to bat 5. Want him to develop. He's an A potential player. There's a spot for him on this team. I just don't know where it is quite yet. Adolis is going to be the center fielder for now. This may be as good as he ever gets. Hopefully he progresses, but if not, it's okay. He had a phenomenal rookie year, and I don't feel bad about moving on from him, to be honest. Nate Lowe is our first baseman, again, for now. I wouldn't mind an upgrade, but for right now, as a placeholder, it's fine. Then Jose Trevino, San Antonio native, and Willie Calhoun, who will develop. There's just not a place with this current roster that you feel like he could hit in a higher spot than like 9th. Like maybe we could bat Nate Lowe lower, but I feel like that's a disservice to Lowe, and I don't really want to hit like that. I guess we could. It's one spot, right? Versus lefties. Kiner Falefa bats leadoff. This is tentative. This could change. I feel like Seager may wind up being the leadoff guy full time, but we're gonna give Kiner Falefa a shot. Simeon, Suzuki, Adolis, Solak will play center for us. Then Calhoun, Pozo, and Lowe bats 9th. For the rotation, we're looking at Greinke, Gray, Dunning, Allard, and then Hearn. If things go badly with either Allard or Hearn, we do have Tropiano, I'm going to go with, is how you say that. He'll be a fine stop holder. He's not going to be on the team long term, I wouldn't think. And then the bullpen, looking like John King is going to be the long man for a while, probably. Tropiano could also fit in that spot. I guess we'll move him up. No real reason not to. Joe Barlow, Brett Martin, and then Hernandez, Patton, and Jose Leclerc. In AAA, the big guy that didn't make the roster, but we're going to let him develop in AAA for at least a bit, is Spencer Howard. He should be in the majors hopefully by next season. Kyle Cody hopefully develops. Kohei Arihara, I am not sure what we're going to do with him yet. He could be trade bait. I just don't think it's worth him getting starts over a guy like Dunning or Allard, and we signed Gray, and I don't think he fits long-term better than Hearn does. But if things blow up, certainly Arihara could be up in the mix, as could Spencer Howard this year. Just depends on how well they develop. Glenn Otto down here as well, another starter. We have a ton of starters at this stage, which isn't a bad thing, but it is a thing we need to keep an eye on. Matt Bush is going to start in the minors as well. Keep it semi-realistic. And then Jack Leiter is going to start in AA with Cole Raggins. So with all that being said, let's simulate 2 draft day. We're going to simulate 2 of these little phases, and that'll be when we check up on teams and do stuff. I just figure that's the best way. Also, should mention, sliders. Everything kind of stays the same throughout, just kind of stays at 50. I did turn trade frequency down quite a bit, and we're going to turn injury frequency down all the way, just because I don't really want to deal with all the DL pop-ups. We're going to set scouting to auto. I just couldn't be bothered for this first episode to do manual scouting. But here we go, simulating to draft day. It is draft day. We are 30-26 and somehow leading the American League West at 4 games over 500. The Astros are laying an egg. I promise I did not sabotage the roster. I'm not sure how to check that for you guys, but I didn't. You're going to have to take me for my word. But we are leading the division somehow out west, which is shocking to me. I did a test one of these earlier, and we were certainly not leading the division. We were actually in last, and we had a worse record than the Mariners currently do, with the exact same roster. So I'm a little bit shocked, and we're going to go to the draft. And we picked second because we were just so bad last year. The Pirates start with Manny Tejera, and we're going to start. We're going to look for guys that could potentially come up sooner rather than later, I would say. We need starting pitching. That is a weak spot for us, at least depth-wise. That is a weak spot for us. And I'm looking at Alan Nishi, I'm going to guess is how that's pronounced. He looks sick. He's got 80 grade velocity. 80 obviously is as good as you can get, so he's kind of a fireballer. It could be it looks like he has good command too, based on his walks per 9, so we're going to take him. Hopefully he's pretty good. My draft strategy for this, most of the time, is just draft 80 grade players, and then we sign the ones that look like they could actually be good, which it really depends from class to class how many of those actually appear. And it looks like Ross Batts, odd name for a pitcher, but Batts is going to be our pitcher. Probably not going to bat. Maybe he will. We'll see. We're going to look for perhaps a closer, and Tino Tejada. We do need bullpen help long term. We don't have a lot of bullpen depth, I don't think. Looking at the roster, the game may say we do. I personally don't think the Rangers do. He's 19 years old, got time to develop, 80 potential. His MLB ETA is next year, so hopefully that's at least semi-close to right. And the one that's catching my eye right now is David Henley. He looks like he's got pretty good contact, pretty good hitter all around, pretty good vision. He looks like he's going to rake, and that is somebody that we want on our team. Just 75 potential instead of 80. But I feel decent about that pick off the rip. Our last pick here, we're going to go with another reliever, Vaughn Barger. Man looks like a Vaughn, if we're being honest with ourselves. He looks like he would be a Vaughn. We're going to exit the draft. Let's see how we did. And then we'll take a look at some stats here. Nishi looks like he's going to be a beast off the rip. He's a 72 overall. Looks pretty good. Potential to be a 92. We're going to lock him up. It seems like he could be good. We'll sign him just so we can push that thought down the road. Same with Tejada. The rest we'll think about. The only other one I think we'll revisit is Bats. I think McElroy and Vaughn can walk. But we'll think about Bats down the road. Let's take a look at how the lineup is doing. Kind of fluffy, not great. Corey Seager, 263 average with 9 home runs isn't terrible. Simeon, 246. Suzuki's playing fairly well. Solak could be better. Nate Lowe is raking, so we need to move him up in the lineup. Willie Calhoun's a bit of a letdown at this point, as is Trevino. We'll take a look at Pozo, who's also a letdown. We need to adjust catcher. We need to address catcher, I should say. That feels like something we need to do. Yeah, not great. Greinke's got a 2 ERA. He's 5-6. My God, we can't hit. That's what it comes down to. Gray's 7-3. He's got a 3.35 ERA. Dane Dunning's a 4.10. Allard's pitching okay. Honestly, Allard's pitching pretty good, as is Taylor Hearn. Yeah, I don't think any of them need to be bumped. Joe Barlow is apparently just a train wreck. Not great, if we're being honest. But yeah, that's what we're kind of looking at here thus far. I don't feel the need to make any super changes, other than I'm going to move Nate Lowe up into the lineup. And we'll check back with y'all at the All-Star break. We made it to the Home Run Derby. We'll see if any Rangers are in there. No, Schwarber's a red, apparently. Juan Soto. Ryan Mountcastle is here. Yordan Alvarez, Acuna, Olsen, Stanton, and Hoskins. I should also say that we're just going to call this year one, because it's not going to be right on the screen. This would be 2022 theoretically. It just is not on the screen. So we're just going to go by this is year one at this stage. We'll check out the All-Star rosters in a moment. We are a half game back of the Astros, which is not terrible. We just beat Oakland 2-1. See if anything super dramatic has changed. Doesn't look like it has. Nate Lowe's cooled off a little bit. So has Garcia. Solak's kind of a dumpster fire. All right, we'll work on it maybe. We're not going to actually play it. We're just going to take a look at the rosters. It's Verlander, Gossman is here, Cole, Giolito, Urquidy from the Astros, I would assume, unless they've moved him. A lot of the normal suspects: Raisel Iglesias, Emmanuel Clase, former Ranger, farmhand, and Nick Anderson. And Marcus Semien, 97 overall. Batting leadoff for the American League team. Things you love to see. Hitting .269 on the year. Bregman behind him, Louis Bob, Yordan Alvarez, Salvador Perez, Jose Ramirez, Jorge Polanco, Matt Olson, and Hunter Dozier are the starters. No other Rangers. Vlad Jr. on the bench. Trout on the bench. Judge on the bench. Interesting. We'll check out the National League roster for fun. Because why not? Kershaw was the starting pitcher. Musgrove, Burns, Taijuan Walker. Genesis Cabrera is here from the Cardinals. Real interesting. Kirby Yates, I believe, is a Brave. He is. And Edwin Diaz is here. Gallegos, also a Cardinal. Interesting that Cabrera made it. Although, I guess his numbers are pretty good. He's got a 1.52 ERA. Who would have thought? And the lineup for the National League is Cronenworth, Estrada, Soto, Acuna, Winker, Freeman, Will Smith, J.D. Davis, and Avisail Garcias. The only one that sticks out to me that shouldn't go is Thairo Estrada, but I guess the Giants need a representative, so here he is. JT Realmuto on the bench. Jamie Ritchie is here. I guess the lone Pirates representative. No idea what happened to Brian Reynolds, though it feels like he should be here. Kyle Schwarber's here as a Red, apparently. I guess we'll cover that later. But yeah, those are the All-Star teams. Not bad so far. We'll carry on. We're going to go to the trade deadline. And one thing we're going to do to make it a little bit more interesting, I mess with the sliders. I don't like a lot of trades early in the year, but then at deadline, that makes it super dead. So we're going to turn the trade frequency up just a little bit past halfway to see if we can get some excitement in. Okay, here is everything that we did. We optioned Barlow down to AAA. Just wasn't getting it done in the major leagues. And Spencer Howard is a major leaguer. Leiter went from AA to AAA. Yuri Garcia went from AAA to AA. For that, Thompson went from AA to AAA. Eli White was optioned from the majors down to AA. Was hitting like 140 or something in the majors. We purchased the contract of Bubba Thompson for the major leagues. So Thompson and Ibanez are new major leaguers. And then Trapino is now in the minors. So that's what we're looking at. We're 49 and 44. We're still in the playoff hunt, I guess, technically. We're looking at moving Arihara potentially. We could, I guess, look at moving a guy like Kiner Falefa. He could bring in some good value for us. He is kind of blocking third base long term. Would love to see what Andy Ibanez could do there every day. It wouldn't be great initially, but he was kind of raking in the minors, so you never know, I guess. Yanni Hernandez, I could take or leave. We need to address catcher. That is just a bad place for us. Garcia's been bad. We could use another outfielder. We could get rid of Calhoun. Actually, that is. We're going to update the trade block and throw Calhoun on there. Not June Calhoun, but Cole Calhoun, the other Calhoun. The other Calhoun for Rangers fans. Obviously been around for longer. But that's what we're kind of looking at here. It's we're not going to do anything crazy. We just got to have time for our players to develop. And I think that is something that it takes time. We're not going to win the World Series in this first video for sure. Hopefully by year like 3 or 4 we'll be pretty competitive. We are already exceeding expectations. Today is the trade deadline. Let's go make a move or two and see who's available. The Athletics have made it official and placed Olson on the trade block. That could be really interesting for us. Perhaps not for this year because Nate Lowe has been very good as of late, at least in this sim. But it's something to think about. As well, Shane Bieber. Again, not something for us right now, and then Lowe again, apparently. So I'm gonna go through here and try to pick out a couple of guys to maybe try to make a move on. Try to make our team better long term rather than in the short term. We are still above 500. I just don't think we're competing right now for a World Series. Even if we squeak in, I think it's a first round exit. We're not gonna we're not going to do a Los Angeles Rams, though it did work for them, and kind of give up our future for a championship now. I just don't think our team, even if we did give up our future, is competitive enough at this stage that one or two players are going to flip that. But I guess we'll see. See what we could get from that. Adley Rutschman. That doesn't feel realistic at all, to be honest with you. Although that might be one we do. That feels a little bit cheesy to me, so we're not going to do it. But it is possible, as well as Devers. Why are we offering Devers here, Boston? What are we doing? I guess we should take a look at what the pen is doing. I think that might be the thing that we look at improving. For the moment, Leclerc has not been good. Jonathan Hernandez has been solid. So has Spencer Patton. I mean, the pen's been okay. This entire team is just okay. It's not great. It's not terrible. Spencer Howard's kind of getting lit up, but just get him some innings, you know. Dane Dunning's been reasonable. Like, everybody's been okay. Nobody's blowing us away. Yeri Rodriguez is apparently insane in Double-A. Cole Raggins is fine. Like, this entire team right now is just kind of meh, and I don't really know how to fix that. So I need to think on that for a minute. We're leading the division. So it feels like we should try for like an MLB ready player, like an outfielder probably. Feels like the move. That does feel like our biggest hole. I'm just kind of processing out loud here. Our biggest hole is outfield. We do have Suzuki. Bubba Thompson's not been great. Solak we could potentially move off of for the season if we wanted to go that route. Taveras has not been good. I mean, we need an outfielder and we need a catcher is really what this comes down to. I don't have great confidence in JP Martinez coming up and being effective right away, nor do I have confidence in Steele Walker being effective immediately. It's just we're in a tough spot because we're ahead of schedule, and I don't really want to mortgage our future at a shot to win a ring this year, because I think there's potential to have a much longer window starting in a year or two. But we'll see what we can do. I feel okay about moving Cole Calhoun. He's on a one-year deal. I feel okay about moving Arihara. He's not even in the majors right now. So both of those are kind of negligible losses for me. So we'll look at that. All right, trade number one. We're going to trade Kohei Arihara straight up to the Royals for Michael A. Taylor. Gives us an outfield bat and doesn't commit us to anything long-term. But I think it's a step up from what we currently have. So I feel okay about it. He'll slot right into the center field spot, if I had to guess. Now we're going to try to move off Cole Calhoun. We're going to trade Cole Calhoun for Pedro Martinez from the Rays. He's a shortstop, not the real Pedro Martinez. But we're going to shed his salary. So that'll be good. Looking at who's available, I would love Matt Olson. He is a little bit expensive. Hae-Seung Kim could be real interesting, though he's been not great this year. Paul Sewald is another one. I think we're going to try to do a trade for Matt Olson, even though that's within the division. I don't think it'll work, but we'll have to see. Okay, couldn't get the Olson thing to work. Benintendi's on the market. I guess we could give something up for Benintendi. He feels like he'll be pretty good long-term. Tim Hill is here with a 1.76 ERA. My lord, what would it take to get Tim Hill? If we traded away... Who could we trade? All right, Hunter Wood and Jonathan Ornelas gets us Tim Hill. I believe it should, and it does. So that's going to help the bullpen. I think that's all we're going to do here unless something pops up, which I don't know why it would, but we're going to adjust the lineups and we'll show you all the bullpen and then simulate to the end of the season probably. New lineup we are looking at here is Michael Taylor, Seager, Simeon, Suzuki, Lowe, Kiner Falefa, Solak, Calhoun, and Heim. We called him up just because I want to see what he's got. We weren't getting production out of the catching position anyway. really. And then against lefties, Bubba Thompson's going to play some. And we'll move some stuff around. Solak will come off the bench. Solak actually probably should start. We'll figure that out later, I suppose. He's going to play third. That's what's going to happen. Greinke's regressing heavily, but he's pitching pretty well, so I'm going to deal with it. He's only around for one more year. This was the plan the whole time. He's older. He's going to regress. It's part of the plan. He's only here for one more year, so even if he's like a middle-of-the-rotation guy, it's fine. John Gray has pitched pretty well. Dane Dunning has pitched well. Spencer Howard would love to be getting more out of him, but he's only 9 innings in with a 5.79 ERA, so can't be too let down. But Colby Allard is a little bit of a letdown, if we're being honest. Just feel like he should be pitching a little bit better. And then we got Tim Hill to help with the back end. He's going to slot in place of Spencer Patton. And that's kind of what our pen looks like. Leclerc has been terrible, but you can't send him down at this stage. So there you go. We are at the September call-up date. We are 5 games back of the Houston Astros, who have surged ahead. We went on a bad losing streak. Yeah, so we are at September call-ups. We're going to have to call some people up. AJ Alexy has been claimed, in case anybody was curious. I don't think that's a super big loss for the franchise. No offense, AJ Alexy. For the purposes of this video, I don't think he's going to be a big impact player. Not super concerned about it. We do need to, though, call up a couple of players. So we're going to dig down into our 40-man roster. That just feels like the best way to do that. Call up a couple players that look like they've been doing pretty well. Sam Huff is an option. Already been in the majors before. We want people that are succeeding at the lower level would be ideal. Eli White just sucks at every level in sim. Have to make that important distinction. He's going to be moved back to the majors. Tropiano. I know I'm not saying that right. You're just going to have to deal with it. And then Jose Trevino probably is going to get called back up to the majors. And those will be the 2 that come up. And then we'll just let AAA figure out what they're going to do from there. We're in the last month. We're 5 games back. Let's see if we can make the playoffs. AAA Express have won their division. They were 83-59. Interesting. And the Rough Riders finished the second half at 36-24, and they won their division in the first half and made the postseason. So both our minor league teams are doing well. We're not going to stop the sim, but we will check in at some point. Rough Riders have been eliminated, apparently, and it does seem that our AAA team is still hanging around. So that's a positive. At this stage, we're going to simulate to the end of the regular season for the Major League squad. We're 83-76, so we're going to go above 500. We are 5 games back, though, so we're not going to win the division. We'll see if we squeak into a wild card spot. They won the championship series, and now they're going to go for a national championship. And we make the playoffs. We had a game 163, and the Rangers have finished the season at 86-77, have made the postseason. That is shocking news to me. The regular season has come to an end. We'll go check out how that happened. We added a game 163. We beat the Yankees 3-1, as I guess we'll view the box score. The Yankees just couldn't do it. Who pitched for the Rangers? Dane Dunning. Wow. Dunning, Patton, Hill gets a hold. Hernandez gets the save. That's why we traded for Hill, man. Who would have thought? All right, the Rangers in the postseason. We squeak in on the last day. We're 86-77, and we're in. We'll go take a look at the regular season stats and see what's happening. We'll take a look at the standings first. Astros won 90 games. Not crazy. We're about 4.5 games back with that tiebreak game. The White Sox won 93. The Jays won 89. The Rays in at 89 as well. The Orioles won 51 games. And the Mets and the Giants are the 2 wild card teams. The Padres win 99. The Giants win 97. Brewers won 94. The Reds missed the playoffs with 93 wins. The Braves with 106. Rangers beat out the Yankees. The Sox were the next two, and then the Angels a little bit of a ways behind them. So it's a tight race there at the end, but the Rangers do make it the playoffs. We'll take a look at how our team did statistically, who led us in hits. Marcus Semien with 158. Not spectacular, but it was okay. Did anyone play 162? No. Semien played 153. That's fine. He hit 42 home runs, which led the team. Nate Lowe with 28. 117 RBIs for Marcus Semien. Suzuki with 79. Nate Lowe with 78. Not bad. Kiner Falefa with 23 steals. Bubba Thompson hit 317 in the majors. That is a very good sign for the future. Nate Lowe, amongst the everyday guys, I guess we'll call it, hit 289. Michael Taylor, 275 isn't bad. Suzuki, first year in the majors, 273 is not terrible as well. We'll see if anybody had a crazy OPS. Semien led the team, Lowe right behind him. And Seager got 77 walks. Who led the team in strikeouts? Nate Lowe did with Semien. And Suzuki led the team in doubles. Garcia managed 5 triples, as did Semien. So, that's it for the hitting side. Zach Greinke and Gray led the team with wins. That does make sense. They were our top 2 pitchers. Dane Dunning right behind him, though. Not too shabby. Colby Allard, with 11 wins. Got his ERA under 5. That is a positive sign for the future. Spencer Howard's got a way to go. As we'll see who ate the most innings, it was Zach Greinke. That is why we signed him. Dane Dunning and John Gray each got 190 plus. John Gray with 151 strikeouts led the team. Dane Dunning with 142. Tim Hill led the team in ERA. Jonathan Hernandez was very good. Greinke, the 2.79 ERA. Greinke really held his own there. Really, really did. We'll see if we can find WAR. Zach Greinke, not super shocking, led the team in pitching WAR. We'll take a look at maybe hitting WAR. Is that a stat we can get? If it's one we can get for pitching WAR? Feels like it should be. Marcus Semien with 6.9. Nate Lowe with 4.6. Seager with 4.5. Suzuki with 4.2. So overall, a really good performance there. We're in a one-game wild card game. A one-game wild card round with the Tampa Bay Rays. It's Greinke versus Glaz now. We'll just sim through it. Do we win? The Rangers don't have 4 valid lineups. Well, we only need 1. So, I guess we'll fix that. See if we win. We'll just auto-fix the lineups. And we lose 3-2, so we are eliminated. Express have been defeated as well by the Indians. I'm not even sure what minor league team that goes to, but Spencer Patton gets the loss. Colin Poche gets the win. We'll simulate to the offseason here and check out the awards. As the Mets defeat the Blue Jays in Year 1 World Series. Obviously, that would be 2022. As we'll take a look at the awards, at least the big ones. World Series MVP is Thomas Nido, just as everybody suspected. The postseason award for the AL goes to Springer, and then J.D. Davis. Interesting. Pete Alonso did pretty well as well. MVP for the NL is Acuna. AL is Yordan Alvarez. That's a bit shocking. Trout at 2. Cy Young is Lance Lynn, former Ranger. NL would be DeGrom. Batting title here is Nicky Lopez for Houston. Jesse Winker hit 340. My lord. Freddie Freeman hit 335 for the Braves. I guess he did wind up back as a Brave. Reliever of the year is Nick Anderson in the AL. Lucas Sims in the NL. And Rookie of the year is Sean McClanahan and Akil Baddoo. We'll check for any Rangers on Gold Gloves. Marcus Semien finished second at second base. And no other ones. Gallo played center for the Yankees apparently. Any Silver Sluggers we won? The only one I'd feel good about is Semien, and we did. Semien won second base. Albies in the NL. And that's going to be about it. Forgot to look for the stats for the regular season of league leaders, so that's on me. But we're going to simulate to the offseason of Year 1. And our first base coach is out of contract. as we skip through all these. We'll take a look at our retired players. None on the Rangers. See if there's any big names down below. There's Miguel Cabrera retired. Apparently, missed him. He is a Hall of Famer. Finishes just shy of 3,000 hits. As we will see what we need. We need a farm director and a first base coach. So I'm going to go do that. Talk to Michael A. Taylor, see what we need, and then we'll reconvene in a moment. Put an offer in on Joe Madden to be the farm director. So as it currently stands, we do not have a spectacular outfielder in center at this stage, but Thompson did show quite a bit of promise. So I think we're going to roll with him and let Taylor walk, is my thinking. Taylor is a decent outfielder. He's also 31. He's not going to be here long term. Thompson has the potential to be a really good outfielder for us for a long time. So I think that's the direction we're going to go. At least in the short term. Yeah, we're going to let Taylor walk, so we're not even going to deal with that. We're not going to rebrand anything. Yeah. Greg Slater is our first base coach. Buster Posey is a Ray. The one thing I forgot to change was lower Posey's rating so he would retire. So that's on me, I guess. Old Mike Zunino is a Astro. I guess we should take a look at who's in free agency. What does our team need at this stage? We're good at middle infield for a while. We could use an outfielder, apparently. We could use another outfielder. Suzuki is fine. Adolis was not good. We could use an outfielder and a catcher, I think, is what we're looking at for the Major League squad. And then as far as rotation goes, Greinke's down to a 75. Gray is okay. We could use another big arm in the rotation, if we're being honest. I think Tim Hill was a good acquisition. He's a good lefty out of the pen. Kind of a submarine-style guy, if you've seen him pitch live. Brett Martin and Taylor Hearn are still here. We could use a starting pitcher on like a 1 year or 2 years, similar to Greinke. Although it would be nice just to have Allard and Dunning and Howard all pitch a year. Because also, we do have Leiter coming, which is what she said. But he's close. So we'll take a look at what's here in free agency. See if anybody moves the needle. James Paxton, I guess, could be interesting. Danny Duffy as a bridge guy. There's nobody super awesome here. Perhaps Corey Kluber. Matthew Boyd's here. I don't love that. At that point, we would just let our young guys kind of pitch. Cole Hamels is still around. I guess he's an option. I'm not blown away by this starting pitcher class, so we may just sit on our hands here. McHugh out of the pen could be interesting. Tepera. Richard Rodriguez. Keone Kela could bring him back. Could bring O'Day back. Could bring Diekman back. Could bring Martin back. Don't believe Betances has ever been here. We'll take a look at who's available. Catcher-wise, it's Roberto Perez. Christian Vasquez could be interesting. What did he hit last year? 238. We need some production out of the catching spot offensively, and none of these guys are going to do it. So we're going to stick with our guns, I think. But we'll see. Chris Bryant's here in free agency. That could be interesting. Correa, I guess, never got picked up, as did Story. And then as far as outfielders go, there's not a lot. Nick Castellanos could be interesting. Michael Conforto could be interesting. I think we're going to make an offer on Castellanos at least. See what he'll do. I think $8 million a year feels fair for Castellanos. Maybe a little bit more for a little bit less. At least time-wise, could be good. So we'll do that. Calhoun, I have no interest in. So thinking about it, we're good up the middle. The only one I'm thinking about here is potentially Kluber. But even then, like, it's just so much, you know? I don't know. There's nobody here. We don't need a first baseman, I don't think, because Lowe has been spectacular. So I don't feel like we need that. We could try to steal McHugh, though. That could help the pen a ton, to be honest. He's 34. 3 years and maybe bump up the money. 5.6 a year. Maybe if we get him at that, I'd feel comfortable. Anything more, I'd maybe feel a little bit cheated. James Paxton is interesting. As far as starting pitchers go, he's not super old. He's 33, so like on a 3-year wouldn't be terrible. I wonder if that would move the needle for him at all. We'd have to bump up the money quite a bit. I don't really want him for 4 years. I guess if it came down to it, we could trade him. 4 years at 14 feels okay. I'll sit on that one and think about it. For catchers, we're just going to hold. We're going to see if we get Castellanos and McHugh, and then we'll move from there. If we do, perhaps we will. If not, then we won't. And I'm going to go through and do all this salary arbitration and stuff like that. So I'll update you guys here in a second. All right, we have tendered contracts to everybody I feel like we need to. We have offered salary arbitration to everybody that I feel like we need to, other than Allard, who I think will take the deal, but we'll offer him arbitration just in case he doesn't. We offered arbitration to Hearn. We didn't offer contracts to everybody, but we offered arbitration to everybody here because I think there's a spot for him. Outside of David Hale, just didn't feel like he has a spot on the team long term. Yeah, so at this point we're going to simulate. We're going to see if we get Castellanos. Zach Reeks is no longer interested. That's fine. Joe Madden is our farm director. As we'll go take a look and see what's happening in free agency. We have signed a lot of people. Is Castellanos still here? He is still on free agency and has not accepted an offer. So we're going to keep going. Actually, first though, we are going to take a look at some more relievers. Tepera is an option. I think we may offer Kella. Yeah, we may offer Kella. We are going to offer Tepera as well. I think a 1-year deal. Maybe a 2-year deal could be interesting. Why does he not? Sir. Okay. 1-year deal is fine. Ideal salary is $30K. Interesting. Okay, we'll blow him out of the water then with $30K. We'll double the offer that the Mets are offering. Tepera is going to be helpful, I think, for us long term, as we're also going to offer Chris Martin, bringing him back. No real reason not to. I think 2 years is fine. Nobody's offered on him. If we can get those guys and Castellanos and then get the other guys to develop, I really think that's going to be very important for us. As we do need to check on the 40-man, see who's on and who's not, who doesn't need to be. I don't think Duran needs to be at this point in time, so we're going to remove him perhaps. And Spores, I don't know, needs to be. Alec Hansen probably should, so no one claims him. We're going to remove Spores. We're getting ready for the Rule 5 draft is what this is. So if you guys don't know, if you draft somebody in the Rule 5 draft, I should say, you have to keep them in the major leagues the entire year, and then you own their rights. Oops. So we're going to sort by potential. See if there's anybody we're missing on the 40-man. We're going to put Jack Leiter on. It would be a shame if he got claimed, and he's good enough that he could be. He may start this next year in the majors, actually. Yeah, there's nobody else. We'll throw Raggins on there. there's nobody else that I feel like super justifies being on the 40-man roster that isn't. Alex Nishi, like maybe. Josh Young probably should. Nishi probably will add. Draft pick from last year. Maybe we won't. Who... We're going to do some finagling here. Barlow can go. Y'all are going to watch me do this live. Eli White is interesting because he is helpful. He is good enough technically to be in the majors. He just can't hit. So actually we are going to remove him. If he gets claimed or drafted in the Rule 5, he gets claimed. So that opens up a couple of more spots then. And that's going to let us put Nishi on. And is that it? And JP Martinez on. And if somebody claims Steele Walker, they claim Steele Walker. I think that's going to be what we kind of look at here. As I guess we'll see if any of our guys have signed. Nobody has yet, it appears. Yeah, nobody has yet, it appears. Did Tepera? Tepera did. Okay, so we're waiting on Martin and Castellanos. I don't think those guys are big enough to warrant a little pop-up. But that's what we're waiting on currently. As Spores has been claimed, that's fine. Ezekiel Duran has been claimed. That's also fine. This is the last day of salary arbitration, which we already did. CJ Crone is a red. Interesting. Who have we have offers on now? Castellanos is a Ranger. See who else is here. I offered on one other reliever and I've already forgotten. So it must have been very impactful. We talked about Tepera. I don't remember the other one, honestly. Which isn't great because I was just looking at it. But that's where we're at. If we get to the next part and Story isn't signed, I'm going to sign him. And he'll be our third baseman, probably. I could go without Correa, but Story could be a fun one to add. But we're going to simulate to free agency 4. Has anybody even offered on Trevor Story? The Marlins have offered pennies. This is very broken, the way that this has chosen to go. We're going to offer him a reasonable amount of money. I think 5 years for 47 feels fine. He's going to add to our infield. Kiner Falefa is just going to have to deal with it, I think. Yeah, because Story is too good not to sign, in my opinion. We gave other teams a shot. I mean, the Marlins super lowballed him. Correa's got basically no offers. Rojas is here. I wish that there was more offers on him. I don't know why there isn't, but we're going to offer on Story. Hopefully he signs. But with that being said, we're going to sim to the winter meetings. And let's see if we got him. We've offered. He hasn't accepted yet. That's fine. Ketel Marte is now a Philly. For Nick Abel and others. Tim Anderson is now a Philly. The Phillies making moves. As we get to the Rule 5 draft, we have 39 men on our 40-man roster. Did we get Story yet? We did. Cool. Well, Story's going to be on the 40-man. So now probably we don't have room for Rule 5. We're just going to simulate it. I imagine nobody here is going to get picked up from us, so that'll be fine. Alrighty, we've made it to spring training. We're going to have to sign some minor leaguers to minor league contracts probably. But just taking a look at the lineup going into spring training, it doesn't look bad. It's like Solak, Seager, Semien. Obviously, this will change for the next video, but Suzuki, Lowe, Kiner Falefa, who's actually not going to start. It's going to be Story, so we could probably move off Kiner Falefa if we wanted to. Garcia, Pozo, and then Bubba Thompson. That's going to be what we rock with in spring training, and then that'll be in the next video. And then the pitching rotation that we're going to kick off with is going to be probably Gray and then Greinke, Dunning, Howard, and then Allard. I wouldn't mind Leiter getting some starts in spring training, though. So that's going to happen over Allard, and we'll kind of monitor that in the next video. But that's how this video is going to end. That was year one. That took me a while. So like and subscribe if you guys made it to this far. Comment the word Rangers, and I will catch y'all in the next video.